Hello, welcome to You Know Something with Dina.
Diana.
Hello, Miss Diana.
Hi, Dina. Gosh, it's been a minute.
It has. If you guys were looking for a Giggles and Gratitude episode this past Sunday, we there wasn't one.
No, that was my fault, not Dina's. So you
Yeah,
can blame me.
nobody's fault. It's just, summer's the time for traveling, and you're a world traveler anyway, which is kind of the topic of today's episode. So that works out good. But it was, I mean, I don't, when you say you're going somewhere, sometimes I'll go see your kitty, which I did this time, and I don't really ask for details. That comes from my previous professional pet sitting thing. I figure people tell me what they want me to know.
Well,
Um,
it was a working trip for my husband. I actually just went along for the ride and took our fur baby, Makita.
oh,
So that was great. I had her down there all week. We got to spend a lot of time together. Everybody wants to meet Makita. She is a Pomsky, which means she's really mainly husky. She's just only about 12 or 13 pounds.
he is beautiful.
Everybody wants to meet her.
Yeah, Huskies are such beautiful dogs. I know you've had several, but when they're big, they have big personalities and they're always wanting to explore and escape. Even when they're happy, they're always looking for new territory. But when they're little like that,
Yes.
it's fun.
Mhm. But she still has all the things that you just mentioned. She's just in a little package.
She is beautiful. She's like a red and white. I guess that's called red.
Yes, yes.
Beautiful, beautiful
And
dog.
the blue eyes,
Yeah,
bright blue eyes.
she's gorgeous. Well, things come up and people travel, and we thought we might get together, but once you get somewhere, you're like, I can't do it now because of this. I can't do it now because of that. And you had a lot going on where you were.
You did. So thank you for your patience. And I look forward to what your questions are for the day with travel.
Okay. Now, Diana is a much bigger traveler than I am. Would you call yourself a world traveler? Well, you've traveled the world.
I don't know that I've traveled the world, but I feel like I've been my fair share of places, yes, for my age.
Yeah, yeah. And that last trip was domestic, but we're going to talk about traveling around the world and the cultural differences that you encounter. I know Americans are kind of described as loud and obnoxious and boisterous, and
We are?
that's what they say, and uncultured. Where all these other countries have cultures. And I want to first say, this is just my personal opinion, that makes me angry. Like online, somebody will say, well, you don't even have a culture in America. I don't know exactly what the exact definition of culture is. I'll look it up. But to me, the United States is so many cultures wrapped into one. But I think we have existed now like over, over 250 years.
Mhm.
And so we have our own beliefs, traditions.
Sure.
We do have a culture, and I am so proud I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. So I hesitate to use the word proud, but I'm so proud that I'm feeling so fortunate that I'm American is the way I feel. What about yourself?
I agree. Cultures throughout that we've visited have been very stringent, if you will. So I feel like more of the society is known for those practices, whereas in America, there's not as much attention maybe given to an individual culture because there are so many different ones in America.
Right. But I think we have existed now long enough. We always say we're such a young country, and we are compared to others, but we have been around long enough now to have developed a blending of our basic traditions and cultures, I would say. I would say
Okay.
freedom and um, drive and caring. And I know we're not very popular right now, but whatever.
Maybe we need to act a little bit better when we can. Always we can improve on ourselves, but everybody's going to have an opinion, and you can't, goodness gracious, you cannot please everyone,
Right.
nor should we try.
Yes. Technical definition of culture is the customs, arts, social institutions, and achievements of a particular nation, people, or other social group. So I think we have people We have Andy Warhol in the arts. We have
Right?
what's the guy who spray paints buildings? Banksy.
Mm.
We are slowly getting people who are American artists. And if I had more time, I could think of more. But I think we do have arts and social institutions and certainly achievements to be proud of.
Sure.
All right. So having said all that, these are examples of other countries that have certain cultures that we may not be aware of. And if you're going to travel to different parts of the world, if it is important to you not to offend and to fit in, and maybe not get arrested in certain cases,
Yeah, that's good. You don't want to do that in a foreign country.
you may want to know these. And you may just want to know them simply because you are intrigued by other cultures. And maybe that's why you do travel. You want to learn the cultures of other countries.
Yeah.
So we will get started. And what I want to do, Diana, is just get your opinion if you maybe encountered that yourself, if you agree that that is something that you could adapt to, or if you're like, you know what, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be me in this case. So,
Okay.
and maybe you have experienced some of this, but okay, this is from an article from travelreveal.com. I will include a link. Certain habits you have as American might seem normal to you, but understanding the nuances of each destination, it can just make your travel smoother and more enjoyable. By
Agreed.
just adjust, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I just agree, and that exactly what you just said.
Hmm. Just adjust a few behaviors, you can show respect for the cultures you're visiting and gain a deeper understanding of the world. So keeping that in mind, let's say. All right.
Here we go. Here's the
Mhm.
question. We're all waiting, Dina.
I'm sorry, couldn't find my link.
I'm teasing.
Overly enthusiastic handshake. Now, when you're meeting someone the first time, are you aware of your handshake and what do you do?
Yes, I think a nice, firm, not hard, of course, but when you grab the person's hand and you squeeze and I look into their eyes because I want to make that connection. And I feel like that's important when meeting someone to have a strong presence and to, again, you're not being assertive, but you're, or aggressive, you're just being yourself, meaning I don't know. I hate to shake a hand and it's as limp as a wet noodle, you
Yeah.
know? I,
Goldfish.
oh my goodness. I'm like, just grab my hand.
Yeah,
You're not going to hurt me. And I might be female, but I do appreciate a nice, strong grip when I meet someone. And I think that that hopefully would go both ways.
I feel that way too. And I feel like if someone just, like a cold fish just barely takes your hand, they're really not the least bit interested in meeting you at all. That's the way I feel.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, in countries like Japan, China, and France, shaking hands with too much enthusiasm can come off as pushy or overly familiar. Now, to me, that would be like pumping your hand, not the firm.
Right.
I think a firm one pump is good, or maybe
I,
two pump, pump,
yes. Right.
pump and a half.
1 to 2 is good, acceptable.
A lighter handshake, or in Japan, bowing might be more appropriate. Would you ever attempt to bow to someone, or would you feel like you're kind of culturally appropriating them? Would you feel silly?
No, I wouldn't feel silly. If I need to respect their culture, especially if Americans have a negative reflection as we travel outside of our own walls, uh, I definitely want to appreciate where I'm at and give respect to their culture. And if bowing to someone meant respecting them and, it was their culture, I wouldn't just go bow to anybody. But yes, I would do that out of respect.
Okay. They suggest that as you greet people, look around you. If somebody is greeting person to your right's greeting the person, do what they do, or follow the lead of the person you're meeting. So if you see them kind of bow, then you
Yeah,
should
but
just.
what do you do if you're the first person in line, Dana?
I think you could kind of wait a beat and see if their hand comes out. So follow your host lead. And there's even some people, like oh shoot, I can't think of his name right now. It's a comedian, but he's a germaphobe and he does not shake hands. He like bumps fists, but I don't know if you want to go to Japan and bump somebody's fist or not. They may think you want to fight or
They
something.
may think you want to fight. Exactly. All right. Get out the ninjas.
Yeah. That was Howie Mandel I was thinking of. He always does fist bumps, but
Oh
especially after
yeah.
COVID.
Oh,
Okay. Tipping. Are you a good tipper?
yes, ma'am.
I am too. I am too. Even when I can't afford it, I feel like if I can't afford to tip, I can't afford to do whatever it is I'm doing, you know?
Yeah. It's just in some places it's an expectation. Some places already go ahead and add their gratuity onto the bill for you. But no, I appreciate good service and I recognize that's a very difficult, industry to have as your profession, and they deserve to make just as good of money as anyone else.
Okay, well, you could be rude, Diana, if you do that in certain countries. Did you know that?
To tip people is rude?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, no, teach me.
In America, tipping is a way of showing appreciation for good service, which is exactly what my mi amiga Diana just said. However, tipping is frowned upon in countries like Japan, South Korea, and China. It implies that you're not being paid enough. Like, I know you've got a terrible job and you're not getting enough money. So here, bless your little heart, here's some extra money. So you make them feel uncomfortable.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah. So what can you do? I mean, you could save a lot of money that way, but I think that means that the employers in some other countries, those I mentioned, China, Japan, South Korea, they probably pay a good living wage, which is a nice thing. So,
Yes.
but it says what you can do is just check the local tipping customs before you travel.
Yeah.
Yeah, just be prepared if you're going to travel to another country. You go and you get your money exchange and all that. Just, find out what tipping customs are. And, sometimes here in America, I'm not sure. Am I supposed to tip that person? Am I supposed to tip the person who I go in and serve myself? You know what I mean? It's like drive-through
Right.
things. Am I supposed to, do you tip drive-through restaurants?
You're so funny asking me these crazy questions. Yes, actually, on occasion I do. I have unique orders, and when they get my order right, because I always check it, I do tip someone, and I say this is for you because you got my order right. And
Okay.
we also go to a uh, Japanese restaurant and they have a drive-through. Imagine that. It's the
Hmm,
most wonderful thing since sliced bread. We love it.
absolutely.
And they are very nice and I tip them every time just because I already have a bond and a connection and a familiarity with them and you can tell it is greatly appreciated because I do not think that's a custom.
No, I don't think it is either. I think if they don't come to your table, and go back and forth and check on you, you feel like if you go through the Taco Bell, sometimes also just keep that change, if it's just coins that are left, but I don't intentionally
Right.
tip. Maybe if I ordered for a group, I would. But like say like a Sonic where it's on the screen where there's actually a place to tip, I do that for sure.
Right. Yes. Agreed.
So if you're going to another country, check the tipping traditions. And I would think, well, if you did it once and they kind of held their hand up and said, no, no, then you would know not to do it.
Yeah, you
I
would.
think
It's
if
a
we could.
little late though. You should have
True.
known.
That's true. Okay, eye contact. Now, you talked about eye contact while you do a firm handshake, so you may be arrested.
Okay.
Americans are known for making contact during conversations. I mean, you were taught that like in sales class or anything to look someone right in the eye when you talk to them and make them feel like they're your total focus.
Right.
But in cultures like Japan and South Korea, staring too hard can be seen as aggressive, especially when talking to someone older or in a higher position.
Mm,
Here, a softer gaze is considered more respectful.
okay. A softer gaze, meaning your eyes do not meet theirs, or you just glance at them. What does that mean?
I wonder if it's like, don't just deadlock their eyes, like kind of have your eyes not closed, but
It'd
maybe,
be if you
oh,
had nystagmus of your eyes, you wouldn't have to worry about it because your eyes go back and forth.
or if
Sorry,
you're
I had to throw that in.
cross-eyed. I would be like, they'd look at me, I'd look the other way, I keep looking around. Don't make contact. I guess maybe you could like look a little bit below their eye or stare at their nose or something so you're not just like boring a hole into their eyes. I could see how that might be. If someone felt that they were superior to you traditionally in that country, that they'd be like, why are you staring me down like this? So good to know. Good to know. If you're in a culture that values humility, don't feel the need to lock eyes for too long. Occasionally glancing away shows you're being respectful, especially when speaking to elders and authority figures. I always feel like somebody's not listening to me when they look away, but
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm an American.
Through and through.
In the US, using someone's name immediately signifies friendliness. You know, like if you remember somebody's name after you met them once, that's always a good thing.
My husband is wonderful at that, and I'm terrible.
I am awful. I'm asked somebody their name the minute they tell me I forget it, just instantly.
I ask him all the time, how did you remember their name? It's such a random type of interaction, but he will see them later and call them by their first name. And I'm so glad he remembers because I could not.
I know it is. It's a good skill to have. And there are little rhymes you can make. Like if somebody says, "My name's Mary," you'll say, "Okay, Mary lost her sheep." You know, you just say something in your head. The next time you meet her, you're like, "Sheep," and
Sheep.
she. You don't go, "Bye." You see her. Okay.
No, that wouldn't be good either. I don't think that's a good culture.
So if you're in a country and they introduce you to Bob Jones, probably wouldn't be their name in another country, but say it's Bob Jones, you would say, "Hello, Mr. Jones," and then he could say, "Oh, call me Bob."
Correct. Yes, I have a very stern, if you will, learning curve on that because I was a nurse and doctors always wanted to be, obviously called out as doctor.
Right.
And I think that that is a source of respect for them, whether it's Mr. or Ms. Riz. I think that's just in the US, I don't feel like we use that as much, but other places do.
Right. Yeah. You can always err on the side of too formal rather than, "Hey,
That's
Bobo, what's your name?" Can I call you B? Okay. Speaking loudly in public. Do you consider yourself to be a loud talker?
no. Do you consider me to be a loud talker?
No, I think you have a very sweet, soft voice. Dude, I might be a little loud. I have a low voice, and sometimes I will overcompensate. I'm actually a very shy person, and I'll overcompensate when I first meet someone or come into a new room to be loud and friendly to, I don't know, just pretend I'm not, shy, kind of be
Yes.
a little
Yes.
obnoxious, possibly. What would you say
Right.
about my voice?
I think your voice is fine. It is a little bit lower, but it has a nice tone and a nice influx, and I've never heard you talk too loud.
Okay, you never thought. I wish Dina would shut up.
No, I love your voice. I love what you have to say.
Okay. Well, Americans as a whole, if we're going to stereotype, tend to speak at a louder volume, especially in public spaces. Now, I would disagree and say to me, it seems like other countries are loud, like in the streets. Um, certain
Yeah.
countries, like in movies anyway, like markets and things, it's just really loud to me. Where,
Well, you have to put in perspective the number of people. If you're in India, I feel like that's going to be very loud just because of the per capita that they have in the space.
that's a good point. Yeah,
Thank you.
they're trying to they're trying to sell stuff and get your attention and haggle prices and things like that. So, yeah,
Mhm.
okay. In countries like Japan, Switzerland, or Spain, being loud in public can feel rude or inconsiderate to the locals. I think I would naturally, if I was new to an area, going into a public space, I would be very quiet because I would be like intimidated and trying to scope everything out before I spoke. What about yourself?
Oh, I agree. I'm very conscientious of watching the scene and being aware of my surroundings, which means watching how people interact, and taking in all the things before I go out and do my thing.
Yeah, I agree. So I don't think we'd have problems there, but I know some people who would probably be considered obnoxious in another country, especially if they had a couple of beers.
Well, and if you're nervous, sometimes you can be talking louder than you would normally talk, or faster, or even talk more. I know if I get nervous, blah, 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 I just kind of
Yeah.
start, and it's like, why am I even saying all this? I
What
say
am
that
I
to
talking about?
myself. I don't say that out loud, but it's, I don't know. I just want to be able to communicate with people, but sometimes I go around the long way.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be like, I'm getting on my own nerves. Why don't I shut up? All right, so the best thing to do, their tip is to lower the volume in public places like restaurants or public transportation. Keep the excitement more for your private settings. Show your enthusiasm there, and this will definitely help you avoid some awkward stares, you know.
Yes.
Okay. Err on the side of being quiet and looking down, I guess. Using your left hand. This is interesting. You're not left-handed, are you?
I am.
Oh, Diana, you are going to jail, girl. Between the hard handshake and the staring in the eyes
And
and
the
being
left hand.
left-handed, you're in big trouble. I'm surprised you're even free right now.
Well, I just got out of jail yesterday.
Oh, okay, good.
So,
How funny.
people I'm teasing, that's a joke.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's kidding. Well, we have an old episode. I can't think of the name of it, but it was about left-handed people. The whole hour was about left-handed people. So go back and look for that. I'll try to remember the name of it and put it in the link. But my dad was left-handed too. He's one of my favorite people, and he had a book about left-handed people. So I brought it in, and T and I discussed, little known facts about left-handers. I need to let you read that book
Yeah.
because T is left-handed too, so, in most things, but sports, she's right-handed. Really strange. Okay. What about when you play golf? Do you swing as a left-hander?
Yes, ma'am.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, Tia does right hand. All right. In many places around the world, especially in parts of Africa, the Middle East, and Asia, using your left hand, whether it's handing someone something or even eating, is seen as impolite. In some
Ooh,
cultures, the left hand is considered unclean, Diana.
wow.
So you're going to reach out your left hand, poke their hand, and look them right in the eye and say, "Howdy, nice to meet you,
I'm Diana.
Bob." Oh, me. Well, if you're left-handed, I mean, you can't help that. It's still a good
Exactly.
idea.
So what do those people do in that culture that are predominantly left hand? I'm assuming early on in their age, their parents would notice that they had a predominant, towards the left, and then try to teach that child how to use more of force them to use their right hand.
Yeah, my sister was like that. She's really supposed to be left-handed. And when my mom realized it, that's long ago enough for her to think that's weird. I don't want her to be, ostracized. So she would take something out of her hand and put it in her right hand. So now
Right?
she's ambidextrous. She can use either one. So just like you were talking, your mom did not do that apparently.
No.
Proud left-hander. All right. It's a good idea, it says. It's up to you, Diana. If you're left-handed, to still offer things with your right hand, if you can think of it. Small gestures like this go a long way in showing you understand local customs. You know what I say? I say, screw that. Use your left hand. That's
Right.
just that's just in Africa, Middle East, and Asia, Diana. So
Okay. I need to write all this down because this is really good information.
yeah, either have some bail money handy, some cash.
Now just write it down and be aware.
All right. Asking personal questions. Now, to me, that's just how you get to know somebody. Well, personal questions, though. Mm.
But I think that depends on the definition of how personal we're being.
Yeah. In the
That's
US,
open-ended.
yeah, casual conversations often dive into personal topics, your job, relationship status, or your family life. However, these questions can feel invasive in countries like France and Germany. People prefer to keep their private lives private. It says avoid probing personal questions right off the bat. No, I wouldn't do that
I
anyway.
would never do that. I think that's rude and inconsiderate.
Yes. Instead, chat about neutral topics like food, the weather, or the travel accommodations where you're staying. Save the deeper questions once you've built a real connection.
Yes.
That makes sense. Now, Diana, this next one, we had a podcast episode about this, wearing shoes indoors.
Yes, we did.
We learned that Diana doesn't like, well, she prefers you to take your shoes off before you come in because she's having landscaping done. And she learned that I've been going in her house pet sitting with my shoes on.
Bad girl.
What conclusion did we come to? We decided that it's the best, it really is best to take your shoes off for germs and mess and respect, but for the host to provide an alternative.
So you're telling me now I need to have booties at the front door for you?
Yes, where are my cute little socks? Yeah, we did
I
decide that. I
will
mean,
get that is putting I'm putting that on my things to do list number one.
I'm just thinking of the cute socks you can buy to put out
I know. I'm lame.
there. In the US, wearing shoes indoors is pretty normal. You know, I said I was raised with shoes inside and most of my friends too. But in places like Japan, there's out of Japan again. They're so picky. South Korea or Turkey, that's a new one.
Yeah,
Removing shoes when entering a home is the custom. It's seen as a way of keeping things clean.
yeah,
And since like I remember growing up being taught about Japan, one of the things was that they slept on mats in the floor. And that might be a stereotype that's offensive, but that's what I was taught. So they do, and even sit on the floor to eat sometimes, you know, the sunken, um,
yeah.
so I could see where they'd want to keep their floors
Clean.
pristine. Yeah, yeah. So be ready to take your shoes off when you enter someone's home in another country. Just, you know, make sure you've got cute toenail polish or you've got some little socks on or something.
Yeah,
Most
all
people,
the above.
oh, yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I bet you in beach areas too, a lot of people do that too because you bring in so much sand.
Oh, absolutely.
The American love for superlatives, like, oh, that's the greatest, that's the best. I'm enthusiastic like that and I try to be positive. So I use superlatives a lot. I'm trying to think if you do. I think you do.
If I do, I don't know it.
I mean, you're very flattering and you don't throw out fake compliments, though. I think I always believe you when you say something nice to me.
I have to believe it before I say it.
That's what
And
I
I was taught if you don't have anything nice to say, then just don't say anything at all.
right. So when you're being quiet, I will know. Well, Americans, Diana, tend to throw around superlatives like, that's the best hamburger I ever had, or that was the greatest movie I've ever seen, or that's amazing when somebody says something. That's amazing that you did that. That's amazing. It's common to hype up everything in the United States from pizzas to concerts, but it can come off as boastful and insincere in France or Italy, where people are more modest. That makes sense.
It does. Absolutely.
So when abroad, focus more on sharing why you like something. So if you went to dinner with someone you just met in Italy, say, that pasta was so flavorful or rich and or I enjoyed it, rather than say it was the absolute best you've ever had. Because people are just
Okay.
going to trust you.
Okay. Give more detail. Okay.
Yeah, describe it. Because is it the best? Have you tasted every plate of spaghetti in the world? How do you know it's the best?
That's true.
I feel like you could say that's the best I've ever had, but
Correct.
yeah. And if you said that about everything, my husband was like that. He was very positive and enthusiastic, but everything was the best, the greatest. And I think they can't all be the greatest. You know, they can't all be.
No, I cannot.
Yeah. All right. Smiling at strangers. Are you the kind of person when you pass someone on the street and you happen to make eye contact, you smile at them?
Yes.
I do too. I can't stop myself.
Why would we?
Rarely do you get a smile back, but I think
Well,
I'm
but
gonna
that
do it
doesn't
anyway.
matter.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You threw it out there, and what they do with it is their business. You can't control what they do, whether they smile or not.
Yeah. And maybe it will affect them later when they get home and think, that was nice. I think if someone smiles at you and it's not creepy, it does lift your mood a little, whether you realize it or not, or throw it back.
Hmm. Yeah. And I
And
don't take offense to it. I have days where I don't really feel like somebody looking and smiling at me if, every once in a while. So I give them the grace that maybe they're having a bad day.
right. I do that too. I do that too. I've known people to say, smile. I would never do that. Yeah.
No.
In the US, it's normal to smile at anyone you meet, but in places like Russia, I don't think I'll be going to Russia, but or South Korea, the beautiful place, smiling at strangers can seem odd or even insincere. People reserve smiles for those they know well. So I would think I would come back from there thinking, those people are not very friendly. Yeah, I think I'd go back to a hotel room and cry because nobody smiled at me today.
Well, if nobody smiles at you, that is kind of bad.
Yeah, it says in a more reserved cultures like Russia and South Korea, don't feel like you have to smile. A nod is acceptable. So I could see that. If you pass someone having to catch their eye, you just nod, keep it
Yeah.
casual. That
Yeah.
would be hard.
It's an acknowledgement of them.
Yeah, yeah. We looked at each other, nod, but I would
It's
just
like
be, go ahead.
kind of like when you have a cap on and you just kind of tip your little cap just
Yeah,
to acknowledge, hey, how are you? Hope you're having a good day.
yeah, there you go. All right, overusing how are you? Now, this would kind of be like the superlative thing, I think. And I do this. Hey, how are you? But do I listen to what they say? They say
Yeah.
fine. You know,
You
fine. Did
I'm
we
going to
really
answer your
mean it?
question. Sorry.
No,
I'm
go
going
ahead.
to I'm going to answer your question and say, yes, you do that.
I do, don't I? Hey, how are you? I was just wondering, did it? Like, well, you didn't even listen to what I had to say back.
No, I disagree. What I'm saying is you do say that, but then you listen to see what the answer is. I've never interacted with you or been in a place where others have been. When you say, how are you? You are intent on what they're saying. And so, yeah, you do that. That's a good thing.
Well, thank you. I think that is a great compliment.
I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it.
That's right. In the US, asking how are you has become a standard greeting, even if you don't expect the true answer. But in countries like France or Germany, this can come off as shallow and insincere unless you truly want to sit down and listen and hear about someone's well-being. The thing is, you and I would be interested in knowing their well-being.
Yeah.
A tip here, if you want to connect, try asking more thoughtful questions rather than how are you? You could say, um, I don't know. Oh, I was going to say you look like you're a little tired. You want to sit down, but saying somebody looks tired is not nice either.
You're looking a little rough. You need to sit down. That's what that says.
Yeah, just be more specific and direct, or just say hello, or would you like some water? Not, you know, are you thirsty or whatever. Then how are you? But that's a habit I
Right.
have a hard time getting out of. People will appreciate more thoughtful questions, and you'll avoid that empty greeting, insincere vibe that Americans have a tendency to give off. All right, public displays of affection. Are you and Danny? Lord help. Do you kiss
No,
the plane or anything like that?
not really. I do not really engage in public display of how I feel about him. I feel it makes others uncomfortable, makes me uncomfortable. So I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, I feel like when I think about you, I don't think that you're very handsy with people or demonstrative with people. You're more of a look in your eye and the words that you say. I mean, you and I'll hug, but I don't feel like you just throw that around
Oh,
willy-nilly. Or do
oh,
you?
I don't hug everybody. If
Okay.
I hug you, I like you a lot.
Okay. All right. You don't like to have a makeout session, but
No.
in the US, holding hands or a quick kiss in public isn't a big deal. But in conservative countries like the Middle East, India, or Southeast Asia, PDA can be seen as very disrespectful. So when traveling to conservative areas, keep your public affection on the down low. If you're unsure, save the hand holding for more private moments. Now, my husband and I, we held hands. Like if we were on vacation and walking around, we just were hand holders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to me, that's not, and maybe that is a public display of affection. I'm referring to kissing and being handsy, that type of thing. But we do hold hands.
Okay. The need for convenience. Americans love convenience, drive-throughs, quick service, 24/7 everything. But life is slower in countries like Italy or Spain, and meals or services might take a lot longer than people expect. So just enjoy the moment. Now, you've been to Italy.
Yes.
Did like a eating dinner, like was that an all-night event?
It was. Um, I was full by the time I left. Let's just say that between the pasta and the wine, it was nice though. I like when a culture appreciates and honors dinner time. You know, I've said this before. I feel like we lose contact with each other and a lot of things being in such a busy world. So I do feel like over there they put a little bit more emphasis on dinner and eating and the coming together. And I think that's important.
I think that sounds good too. You allow yourself, I feel like they eat later too, a lot of countries, later in the evening. Or maybe it just takes that long too. It's more of an event and an experience rather than quick, quick, quick. Where's the waitress? Where's my refill? You know, that kind of thing.
Right.
So I could see where you could be offensive. And they're probably making everything fresh, especially in Italy. So
Oh, yeah. It's worth the wait.
yeah, they're not opening the Chef Boyardee. You don't hear that can opener in the kitchen at one of those restaurants.
No, no, those are fresh tomatoes and basil, garlic, all those good things.
Yeah. So just plan for that to be your event for the evening. And if you're annoyed, if you're an impatient person, just you're going to have to get over it or you're going to offend somebody. All right,
Yeah,
needing a personal space bubble. Now, this goes both ways. In the US, we all know that feeling when someone gets too close. It's uncomfortable, maybe even invasive. But standing too far apart in places like Brazil, Italy, or Mexico can make you seem standoffish or unfriendly. In these cultures, people are more relaxed about their personal space. They expect to stand much closer than you are used to when chatting. That seems kind of like the opposite. Like if you're not supposed to shake hands hard or look somebody in the eye, but they expect you to stand close.
agreed.
Hmm. If you're in a close-knit culture, don't freak out if someone gets too close. They're just trying to connect. But in Scandinavian countries, you take a step back because they're more reserved and they like their own personal space bubbles. Have you encountered any of that when you were traveling? Did you were like, it's personal space, buddy? Did you ever get pinched on the butt like in Italy?
Actually, the van driver, Dan and I were in the front sharing the seat, so I was half on, half off, and the guy started trying to fondle me, rubbing my thigh, and I just gave him a look, and I guess it worked because he looked at me, and whether I was supposed to make eye contact or not, I did, and it was very firm, and he knew exactly what I meant.
Wow. I've heard a lot
Uh,
of people getting goosed in Italy.
yeah,
Okay, then finally, Diana, only one more thing you have to remember when you're traveling is not respecting the queue, or we call it in line. You know, other countries they call it in queue. So in the US, we might cut line when we think no one's looking. What? I
really.
don't do that.
No, I think that's ugly.
I do too. Did you ever do front backs in school though?
What's front backs?
That's
I
where
think
you're in
so.
line. When you're in line and a friend's in the bathroom and they come out and I say, she's not getting in front of you, she's getting in my back. So it's front backs. So get in here, Elizabeth, do a front back with me. And therefore she is actually technically getting in front of the person.
She is.
It was a little rule that we could break if we said front back. Front backs.
Okay. I was not enlightened for that.
It's still rude. However, cutting in line is taken very seriously in places like the UK, Japan, and Australia. It's considered rude and disrespectful. Well, I would say that's considered rude and disrespectful in the South.
Agreed.
Yeah, I would never do that. Always wait your turn. Duh.
In the South, you may get punched if you get in front of somebody,
Yeah,
depending on where you're at,
I
what you're
know.
in line for.
Yeah, and everybody's got something in the back of their pickup truck for you too.
They do.
Go get it.
Just right after you shake their hand.
So the tip is, Diana, always wait your turn. If you're
I
unsure where the line starts, observe how the locals do it and follow suit. Now, I could see where you might not realize the beginning and the end of the line in places.
agree with that. Depends on how close people are standing together, how
Yeah.
defined the line is.
Yeah. I've done that before where I walk into a store or something and there's a line or to buy tickets or something and I don't see the end is broken and gone over a little bit further and I'll just walk up behind the last person. Then I'll look over to the right and see a long line of annoyed people looking at me like, who do you think you are?
Queen Dina.
I'm like, oh, is that the end of the line? I'm sorry. You're like, it's just stupidity. It's not rudeness. It's really not. And you think about people who've been waiting for so long for something and somebody cuts in. Now, how do you feel if you went somewhere? Let's say you went to a club or a restaurant and you were meeting your girlfriends and you got there first and you got in line and your girlfriends are walking up down the sidewalk. Don't you feel like you can bring them into the line with you?
I do feel like that. Yes, because I've probably put her name down and we're in the queue.
Yes. Ooh, look at you using Q like you're a European.
Hey, you're educating me.
All right, so that is the last thing to remember. And just in general, I would say me personally, I don't like to embarrass myself or intentionally be rude. So if I was going to another country, I'd probably read up on certain things just because I don't like to look like a dummy or to,
Sure.
and I don't like to go to jail, things like that. Because there was a guy who, now he was in North Korea, which you do not want to go to North Korea. Sorry, North Korean citizens, but your country sucks. It's not your fault. But he went on he worked for a Chinese company. He was just out of college and they had arranged a trip to North Korea for whatever reason. I guess they were doing business with him. So he had to go. And he was in a hotel and he tore down a political poster, because he disagrees with the dictatorship there. And he's one of these young rebel, I'm a protester, I'm an activist kind of thing, and tore it down. And he went to jail, my friend, had a trial,
Mm.
got 15 years.
Whoa.
Yes. And when Donald Trump became president the first time, he negotiated his release, but he had been there for 7 months. And they said, okay, yeah, we'll do it. Give us some people back or whatever, some spies back. And when they went to the airport to get him, when they brought him off on a stretcher and with a feeding tube. And
Oh,
yeah, yeah. And his family kept him alive for a while, but then took the feeding tube out. Not to be a downer, but just to show you how serious that can be. And they said, well, he just got sick. He got botulism or something. But the autopsy showed that he had been beaten and had brain damage from beating. Um, so, maybe another prisoner beat him up. Maybe the guards did it. Maybe he fell. I don't know. But that poor man was 22 years old and died because he tore a poster off a wall.
wow.
So it
It
can,
is excellent to know the cultures when you travel, and it is wise to keep your emotions in check to where you don't do things that put you and jeopardize your safety and obviously for him his life.
exactly, exactly. Yeah, I have a tendency to be a rebel and well, you're not going to tell me what to do, but it's not that I would intentionally do something rude, but if I accidentally did something and didn't know it, I probably wouldn't be very humble about it, but maybe I should. And I try to think if people come here to our country, are they respectful of our rules and traditions? I guess some are and some aren't, but
True.
it's a personal choice, um, kind of person you want to be, I guess. But I think I could go along with all those. It seemed like there was one or two where I felt like, I'm not doing that. I don't remember what they were.
I think you would be just fine. Let's book you a tour to Italy right now.
The smiling, I might have a hard time keeping check and the eye contact.
So I'm
All
going to
right.
order your booties and I'm going to make you a trip to Italy. Just so
Thank
all the
you.
listeners know.
Hey, I've got witnesses now. I've got thousands of witnesses that you're going to send me to Italy. We hope you guys have enjoyed today. We hope we kept you company while you were doing whatever task you were doing, your commute to work, your laundry, waiting in line to pick up the kids at school, or maybe you were just relaxing on the couch and having a beverage of your choice. And we hope you learned a little. We hope you laughed a little. And we hope you will join us on Sunday for Giggles and Gratitude. Diane, I always like to give you the final word.
Oh my goodness. Well, I just have to say I loved all these points. And for anyone out there that is looking to travel and has a little fear, all you have to do is step out and get onto the airplane. And I promise there will be lots of experiences, lots of scenery for you to enjoy and experience. And yes, there are some negative things that can happen, just like the man kind of trying to grope me and while my husband's sitting right beside of me in the car. However, I didn't let that ruin my trip.
Yeah.
I made it clear that I was not interested and he was not to touch me. Then I enjoyed the rest of my time.
Yeah.
So I encourage everyone to go out and to book a trip to somewhere that you've always wanted to go because we never know about tomorrow. So I hope you guys have a great day. We'll see you next time on Giggles and Gratitude. Bye bye.
Bye bye.